When we fly, we want to arrive safely at our destination on time, and the cheaper the ticket, the better. We don't often think that much about the workers getting the plane into the air, but this next story may change that. Aerocare is a large Australian company that proudly contracts its services to Tiger Air, Virgin, Qantas, Jetstar and Singapore Airlines, to name a few. A side to Aerocare you won't see on their website is staff on low pay, working split shifts, sleeping at work beside baggage carousels, inside luggage containers and on the floor of offices. It's all legal, but workers claim the conditions are causing life-threatening mistakes. And tonight, workers are risking their jobs to speak out publicly for the first time. James Thomas reports.
What sort of a risk are you taking speaking publicly?
Yeah, I will lose my job.
George Osiris is a truck driver employed by Aerocare. Aerocare is an Australian company with more than 2,000 workers. They are the human engine of the airport, moving baggage, loading passengers and doing safety checks on the planes we fly. Qantas, Virgin, Jetstar, Tiger Air, Singapore Airlines. They all contract Aerocare to ensure travellers get on their planes and on their way, safe and sound. But few travellers know what some of these workers endure.
It's filthy, it's cold, it's dark, it's just absolutely horrible.
You can see rat droppings and garbage everywhere.
Makeshift beds by the baggage carousel, dirty sheets on concrete floors. For some shift workers at Australia's busiest airports, this is where they sleep.
It's definitely not conditions that people in this day and age, especially in Australia, would even think are going on here. It's unimaginable.
Many Aerocare workers are part-time. They are paid around $24 an hour, but their shifts can be as short as just 3 hours. So, to make ends meet, they often do 2 shifts in one day, without going home in between.
That's barely enough time to sleep by the time you get home and get up and go to work again. So we end up sleeping underneath the terminal where all the baggage goes in between, just to catch up on sleep.
Sometimes workers spend 14 or 15 hours at the airport for just 7 or 8 hours of paid work.
This is a terrible, terrible indictment of the Australian workforce of today. You know, the income they're guaranteed each month, a family of 2, would mean that they'd be earning $1,500, and they are earning $1,500 a month below the poverty line. Well, these workers are operating under a system of both a combination of victimisation and also being pressured to work and stay at work for extraordinary hours because of the low income without being paid. You know, they get short blocks of time to be, which they're fully engaged. They can't afford to go home because they can't afford fuel or the tolls, and they have to be ready for the next shift.
Homeless people, people in third world countries, you can see sleeping like that, but people working permanent hours, people going to university and working 25 to 30 hours casually, you wouldn't expect them to be roughing like that. But just to be able to do the job and do everything else, that's what they have to do.
So that's what's happening at Aerocare?
Yes, yeah. We're just getting ground down. It's all about the money. It stopped being about people long ago, and it's just about the money, and we're just a means to an end.
We have hidden this Aerocare worker's identity because he fears losing his job for speaking out.
If even a whiff of what I was doing here came across to my employers, on the spot, not even a moment's notice, just job gone, gone.
He believes conditions at Aerocare and fatigue levels are so bad, travellers are at risk.
That we could cause a serious accident. We could cause possible harm and damage to airline or people travelling on that airline.
The workers cite a number of instances. In 2015, a wheelchair lift that looks like this was driven into a bridge by an Aerocare worker. Snapped in half, this is what was left. On the 28th of November 2014 at Brisbane Domestic Airport, an Aerocare team had begun pushing back a fully loaded Tiger Air A320 in preparation for takeoff, with one crucial problem. The cargo door was still wide open.
Word gets spread around quite quickly that Aerocare boys left the cargo door open on pushback.
As the plane was being pushed towards the runway, the open door was detected by the plane's crew and air traffic control. The takeoff was aborted.
If it was missed and the plane was to take off down the runway, I'd hate to think what would happen. It's extremely serious.
Tiger Air says it did report the incident to the Australian Transport Safety Bureau. 3 days ago, the Bureau told 7:30 the incident wasn't a safety matter because the door was closed, just not locked. But today, the Bureau backtracked, conceding the door was open. It said there was no need, however, to investigate further because the problem was detected before takeoff. The Aerocare workers we spoke to strongly disagree with the Safety Bureau's assessment.
They would have fallen out of the sky.
That serious?
Yes.
Fearing repercussions, this former Aerocare worker asked us to obscure his identity.
How did we get to a situation where a plane was getting pushed back with a cargo door open?
If someone said to me, fatigue, exhaustion, would not surprise me one bit.
Aerocare say that neither incident endangered the public, and they described their safety record as impeccable. The company declined an interview and says that it believes that this story is being driven by the union, which is trying to place pressure on Aerocare because they're in the midst of a negotiation for a new workplace agreement. It says its pay levels exceed the award and that it is striving to improve shift conditions, and strongly refutes any suggestion that it treats its workers poorly.
Aerocare prides itself on safety, and the complete opposite is happening, and they don't advertise that. The airlines won't know about it.
What should the major airlines do?
Well, I'll be ending the contracts with Aerocare immediately because it's not worth putting your brand down, risking the safety of your passengers, and in the long run will cost you money.
We'll keep an eye on what happens there.